Hey guys, Patrick Wind here and welcome to this training model about the existing engagement strategy. So the existing engagement strategy is one of my favorite strategies that I've applied to several e-commerce companies, and one of the companies that I'm going to present you in this little video is actually a watch company, and they made some pretty good numbers here. So especially when it comes to volume, so the ROAS was good, but especially the volume was very good. They made roughly $1 million in website purchase conversion value with 300k in spending, so 841k, and that's actually a very interesting volume already. And now, if that sounds interesting to you, I would like to show you how we achieved that. So we applied the existing engagement strategy, which basically consists of 3 engagement steps. Okay, and then we used also engaged ads, of course, and then some details, and I would also like to present you. So what are these 3 engagement steps? Well, first we show a general nurtured post to all prospecting and retargeting audiences, and in order to do that, we first publish it on our Facebook page, on our organic one. Okay, so before we go into ads, we post a general not too selly, but also not too branding post on our Facebook page as an organic post. Then we take this post and we start a conversion campaign. Well, before we start the conversion campaign, we run an engagement campaign. So first the organic post, then second we run an engagement campaign. Okay, so with the objective engagement for post engagement, and after we have nurtured this post with thousands of likes and several hundreds of comments and shares, then we only start a conversion campaign with this post that has already been nurtured with engagement and therefore wins all the ad auctions. And in order to do that, we use engaged ads, which could either be an existing post from our Facebook page, what I've just described to you, or you could also skip step number 1 and just start with a normal engagement campaign and then use this ad for a later conversion campaign. And here you could work with ad IDs, so with the identification number of the specific ad, and I will later also going to show you exactly how you can get these Facebook ad IDs. And what kind of ad did we use? Well, on the one hand, we used single horizontal images that we published on our Facebook page. We also used squared videos, so one-on-one videos, which could also be just a slideshow. So we basically take squared photos, a couple of them, like 7 to 10, and then you create slideshows in one-on-one format of them. Or you could also use a photo gallery, which I've already presented you in a previous video. So basically you publish more than 20 different one-on-one pictures on your Facebook page, and they're then gonna be presented like as 4 little squared ones as the preview, and then you can and then the person can take a look through all the entire gallery, and you can tag your products there. So these are the images that these are the formats that we have used in this campaign. And in addition to that, we played a lot around with budget optimization and campaign level. So when you're on campaign level, you can click this little button in order to allow Facebook that they optimize the budget for you instead of you do it on your own. And we also used something that I call the third-party recommender strategy, and I'm going to present you this one as the last one because I'm sure that you're gonna like that. So let's get started with the 3 engagement steps. First, as I said, we post just a normal post on our Facebook page, of course on our business profile. It could be one of these formats. So you see, you could either upload a photo or video, create a photo album, okay, create a photo carousel. So you could even create a carousel on your organic page. You can create a slideshow there, 3 to 10 photos. I recommend 7 to 10, or you can even create a canvas here. And as I said, I recommend to work with these, like single horizontal images or squared videos, or use a photo gallery with over 20 of your products. And on the right you have one example from myself. So this could be, you see, a standard post on your site with a single horizontal image on this one. So after you have posted something on your page, you then start an engagement campaign. So you see on the left, you do not choose the objective conversion or catalog sales or traffic, you rather use the objective engagement. And then within engagement, you have 3 sub goals, so post engagement, page likes, and event responses. And in this one, of course, we want to choose the post engagement in order to nurture this specific post. So after we have selected engagement and post engagement, then at set level, of course, we have to decide to whom are we going to show that. And here I would recommend you two different strategies. On the one hand, you could already target your true audience, okay, with this engagement campaign. So it makes a lot of sense. For example, if you sell those watches in Europe and they're female watches and your target group is between 25 and 44, and a similar competitor would be Daniel Wellington, then this 3.4 million audience makes sense, because with this strategy I really recommend large audiences, so not only the 800,000 to 1.5 million people, but rather big audiences, so more than 1.5 million up to 5 million, so between 1.5 and 5 million. That's what I usually used in this specific campaign. And that is one way you should run the engagement campaign. So showing it already to the right target group and they already give their engagement. But on the right side, I also demonstrate you a second kind of audience that we have used to nurture this post, which are low CPM countries. Okay, so for example, Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia. I also present you India with 270 million users on Facebook. All of these countries, here the engagement is incredibly cheap, so incredibly cheap. And the only thing that you have to have in mind is that the names of especially people in India, if you're a European brand and people expect European customers and European engagement, they could be misleading, so people would not trust your brand. But if you sell, for example, in Spain, and you see just a comparison of the CPM here in Spain, €2.42, and in Mexico it's 0.76, and Peru 0.85, and Chile 0.9, and Ecuador 0.55, Guatemala and Colombia. So you see, all of these countries are much cheaper when it comes to CPM, and the names are similar. Okay, so if you just sell in Spain and you need Spanish engagement, then you could definitely make use of CPMs in Mexico or Chile or Peru or Guatemala or whatever you feel the most comfortable with. So what I did basically are two things. I somehow split the budget 50-50 in the engagement campaign. So half of it I showed to the real people that I want to impact, where I actually expect my purchases, and half of the budget I spent on just nurturing it with these cheap CPMs. And then after a couple of days, I started the conversion campaign, okay? And the conversion campaign, here I also played around with the budget optimization, but that's what I'm going to explain a little bit later. But this conversion campaign really made use of the post that I have posted in the first step on our Facebook page. Then in the second step, nurtured it with some engagement. And then in the third step, I used it for the conversion campaign. And how did I do that? Well, simply by using an existing post. Okay, so two ways to do that. On the one hand, on the left side, you see that if you, instead of create an ad on ad level, you click on use existing post, you can simply select the creative in the drop down menu here. So this is also related to the Facebook page that you give it here. And then you simply select whatever you want, and then it shows up here. And the cool thing is that it maintains the engagement and the social proof, so the likes, shares and comments that it has already received. So that is one way. That's why I recommend to post it up front on your page. But if you want to skip that and you just want to start already with the engagement campaign, then you could also do that, but it is of course not available here in this drop down menu, because in the drop down menu here you only see the posts that have been published on your Facebook page. Okay, and an ad usually does not get published on your Facebook page. But there's still another way to use it and to combine the social proof, because if you have an ad and you have invested already 100, 200, 300 euros in that ad, it gets some likes, it gets some comments, it gets some shares, and we do not want to lose that. So we want to maintain that. How can we do that? Well, by using the ad IDs. And the ad ID is something that you have to fill in here. So when you select, instead of create ad, use existing post, and when you use an existing post, you do not select the drop down menu, but below here you paste a post ID here, and then submit, and then you're good to go. But now the question is, where the hell can I get this ad ID from? Okay, and that is not that easy, because it's actually pretty hidden. It's not just the ID that you find on ad level. Of course it's not, that would be too easy, but it's also not that complicated to find it. So you basically go to the ad that you want to use, okay, so the original one. In the original one, to go to the preview. In the ad preview, there's only one way to do it. You have to click on See Post, Facebook post with comments, okay, and then it opens up the Facebook page, and you see a preview of your ad with some comments below, okay. And here, only in this window here, the URL has two identification numbers. The first one is irrelevant for us, but the second one, that's the key identification number that we need. So you see this one here, for example, ends with 0822, 0822, and it starts with 1195, 1195. So that's the number that we have to copy and that we can then paste in here. Then we just submit, voila, we have the ad with all the comments, shares and likes. And of course, we can do this not only with this little one-on-one video, but we could also do this with a vertical photo that has the products tagged below. We could not do it with an Instagram story, but what we can do is we can use it with this photo gallery here, and that is something that worked tremendously nice for us. So you see, for example, on the left below, so this one has already received over, well, almost 700 likes, 180 comments, 25 shares, and of course this worked nicely. Also, we demonstrated 40 of our products in a new way that people usually don't use. So what else did we do in this campaign that brought us a lot of success? So we played around with budget optimization. So this is an option that you have on campaign level. They say budget optimization, optimize budget across ad sets. And what this basically does is nicely demonstrated here on the right. So without campaign budget optimization, you have, for example, one campaign with these 3 ad sets. Each of them has $10 daily budget. Okay, and what happens? Well, imagine that ad set 1 gets 3 conversions, ad set B gets 5 conversions, and ad set 3 gets 2 conversions. Well, it stays within the $10 each if you do not interact on your own. So you on your own have to change the budget, and then we have the problem once again with the algorithm learning phase that it reinitiates if we change the budget too much. However, with the campaign budget optimization, this is actually done automatically for you. So instead of giving 10, 10, 10 on each ad set, you give 30 on campaign level, and then you let the algorithm decide for you where it should spend the budget. And then it would probably spend, instead of 10, 10, 10, it would spend something like 7, 18, 5, just to make sure that you really get the most conversions out of it. And this is, of course, something that is very powerful and has worked very nicely for us. And then the last little strategy that we used in this campaign, which I also recommend you because it was very powerful for us, was an indirect sales approach. So we did not directly, well, of course we did also promote our brand directly, but besides that we supported it with some third-party recommenders, for example, top Kickstarter projects in Asia, Scandinavian stories, top Kickstarter creations. And these were all, of course, pages that we've created on our own. We nurtured them with some Facebook fans, okay? So each of them had around 10,000 or 15,000 fans. And then to our community, which was a bit of work to create those communities, of course, but once we had these interest groups created, we used them for our brand. Okay, and then we published, for example, from the Scandinavian stories in South Korea or in Japan, new launch. This is an amazing company. You should definitely take a look at that. Okay, and this indirect approach made it much more interesting to people than just, hey, this is our brand, purchase now. It was more like, hey, we are an authority and we recommend this brand. And this worked, of course, a lot. And if you take a look at the right, here we also combined this third-party recommender approach with the engagement steps and we even got like 742 reactions, so to say likes on this one. So the global timepiece Kickstarter sensation is back, offering its largest discount. So as you see, they're talking about us in a third person perspective, because they are just recommending us, and this is a more indirect and therefore an easier sales approach. So guys, in this little video I've presented you one of my favorite strategies, which is the existing engagement strategy, which contains 3 engagement steps. So first, you post something organically on your page, then you run an engagement campaign, and only then you start the conversion campaign. And you do this with one general nurtured post, also in prospecting and retargeting. And how can you actually do that? Well, you use engaged ads. In order to do that, you use an existing post from your Facebook page, or you could even work with ad IDs if you want to skip the first part of this 3-step process. And what kind of ads did we use? Well, we used single horizontal images, squared videos, also squared videos that were created from slideshows in one-on-one design format, and we used a nice photo gallery with over 20 images. Actually, we used 40. And moreover, I also shared with you 2 strategy details. I have shown you that we used budget optimization and campaign level and why this is a good idea. And I also showed you how we use the third-party recommenders in order to switch our direct to an indirect sales approach. So guys, thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.